Everything was normal. It was just a normal day for me. I was watching TV, enjoying my life, but something happened. As I was eating, I was quite bored. I lived in my small apartment. My partner left me. I had no one. My family, most of them were dead. My life was honestly pathetic, and I wasn't too good at my job. Honestly, I was probably gonna get fired. I could barely pay any bills. I was watching YouTube since I was too broke to afford any streaming services, as I thought about how fun it would be to be Alastair. I mean, true, someone else owns his soul, but I don't know. Everyone was scared of him. He had so much power, so much charisma, and if I was him, I would never let someone take over my soul. I'd be way smarter than him. After all, I'm me. I I know how the show goes. If I was him, I could easily play everyone to my advantage. True, only one season is out, but I'm sure I can use what I know about him to get my way. But as I was thinking this, suddenly a portal would open up as the radio demon walked out. I was shocked. How could this be possible? How could he be here? He's not real. I would stand up and say, "Who are you?" He would laugh and say, "Oh, you know who I am, dear. Don't play dumb." You know who I am. You watch me. And I was quite intrigued. I would fall back as I would start to breathe heavily. What do you want? A deal. You get to live as me, and I'll even do it before I made that soul deal. So you'll be free as a bird. In fact, only a few years after I arrived. That way you're famous and can live the high life, but you're not too famous so everyone's after you. What do you say? Why would you do this? Alastair would say, "It sets me free. Trust me. Doing this will make me a free man." But what happens to you? "Oh, don't worry about that. Will you take my body?" "Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Your life is sad and pathetic. I would never. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Besides, wouldn't you like to walk around with this face?" as he pointed at himself. I would sigh. Alastair was way more handsome than I was. That's to say the least. And I do get cool powers, so, with my life being crappy to say the least, I agreed. And then I would wake up in Alastair's body. I couldn't believe it. I, I, I was Alastair, the radio demon. How is this possible? I would start to walk around. As I talked, I started to talk like him. Old-like, gentlemanly-like, and with a southern accent. Just like Alastair talks. I was baffled by this. I couldn't believe it. As I was walking around, someone would spot me. It was Rosie. As she walked up to me, I began to shake. What if she realized it wasn't me? "Oh, Alastair! I can't believe I'm meeting you for the second time." Then I realized this has only been a couple years since he's been here. She didn't know me well enough to be surprised by me. After all, now I talk like him, so she wouldn't notice any difference. I said, "Rosie, Rosie, Rosie. It's nice to meet you. How are you?" "I'm splendid, dear. I was taking care of my town and thought I could invite you out to dinner. Don't worry, it's platonically. Of course." "I know you don't like anybody." I would smile and say, "Oh, that sounds lovely." Me and Rosie would walk back, and honestly, the dinner would be quite nice. Though we weren't really eating animals. We had some delicious fingers, though. The fingers were phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. And even though I should be disgusted by this, I wasn't. It seemed like Alastair's personality was infected me. But that could be a dangerous situation, because Alastair can be full of himself and push him into dangerous situations. And I shouldn't let that happen. I have to make sure that my brain outweighs his attitude and outweighs his personality. As I walked out, suddenly sinners would surround me. Since Alastair's only been here for a few years, his radio show is quite new. Everyone wanted a piece of him. No one was quite scared of him yet. As they all surrounded me, they said, "So, you're the mighty radio demon. Use your radio show to take down people, huh?" "I think I will take you down." As they all surrounded me, one of them was a big, strong man. The other one was a woman with magic. They all looked quite powerful, and I was quite scared. But as they charged, I began to flinch as suddenly tentacles would come up from the ground. As I looked, I appeared to be controlling them. As they all charged at me, I started to pick them up and throw them. Luckily, most of them weren't too strong. And yeah, it was going to be quite an easy fight. There were a few tough ones, but I was a pretty strong overlord. Now, Alastair wasn't the strongest overlord like a lot of people talk about, but he's on the top 5 at least, considering that he tortured most of hell. So, I had nothing to worry about. As I was just getting used to fighting, getting into my body. But something started to happen. As I started to fight, I got this weird lust, this bloodlust. The lust for power, the lust for death, the craving to spread my masterpiece across all of hell. As suddenly I started to make my radio appear, as I started to broadcast it everywhere. As their screams, they disgusted me. They made me scared of who I was, but at the same time, I started to enjoy it. I started to savor it, and I started to love it. I loved the power that I had. I loved the power that I felt, and I loved everything I craved, as I loved the feeling itself, the feeling of absolute power. It was amazing. As I broadcasted everywhere, they all started to know who I was. Every day I would do a broadcast and go to Cannibal Town to get something to eat. I got a daily routine going on, and I started to enjoy it. My job was to entertain people and to make people scared. And here I was respected and feared. Here I wasn't a loser. Here I had so much. But as I was walking down the street, it's been a few years since I've been Alastair, something would happen this day. I was walking on the street, about to go to dinner, do my usual routine. Everything seemed quite normal, but someone walked in front of me. It was Vox. But he wasn't mad at me. This was before he hated me. Maybe this is why he hated me. I looked at him. As I started to get my composure, not knowing what he's going to say, he would say, "Hey, I'm new around here. I was thinking you and I could team up a bit, build something. All you do is scare people, go and eat at Cannibal Town. Why not build an empire with me?" I would look at Vox, and part of me wanted to stop it. It was Alastair's personality, telling me not to associate with him. However, having an empire with him could be entertaining, and I would say, alright, but I'm only doing it because it's entertaining. You see, I don't care about money or power. I just want to be entertained. Entertained, huh? That's quite a weird thing to ask, but sure, you'll be plenty of entertained with me. As me and Vox walked around, I didn't get my usual supper. Instead, I went out with Vox. Vox opened up a club that was new in town. In fact, he wanted to be known more as a entrepreneur. He wanted to spread his business and his technology all across hell, but he needed my help to do so. Vox would look at me and say this: "Listen, I like you. You represent power and strength, and you've been doing this for quite a while. However, I'm the new technology. You're just the old radio. But me, I can spread my technology everywhere, and you can be the power, the muscle, and together we can rule this place." I would say, sure, sounds fun. Really? Yeah. But don't forget this. Never double-cross me. As I would look, my eyes would turn red. As I would start to grow and horns would appear from my head, Vox would look up and say, "Yeah, whatever." He was trying to look not scared, but I could tell he was shaking a bit. I found that quite hilarious, as in me and Vox started it. We started to sell TVs across hell. And well, with his technology, we even improved it better than what they were on Earth. I made a killing, but I didn't really care about that. I just cared about the entertainment, and there was a lot of entertainment. There was drama every single day, because Vox was a jealous person, and I loved to see this jealousy and drama blossom, as eventually he would want someone else to join him. His name was Valentino, but I had no interest in that. I knew the drama would only get juicier, and I would only be more entertained, but I needed something else to keep me going. As I was walking down the streets, I would see this overlord, Husk. Then I got an idea. Instead of putting him under my control, maybe I can make a deal with him, start my own little club. That could be fun. I walked up to Husk. "Hello, Husk." Husk would look and say, "Alastair, what do you want?" I would look at him and say, "I want to start a club, you and I." "How about a deal? Don't worry, you won't give up your soul. I'll just earn a percentage of the profits you make. Sound like a deal? And I'll make everything you want." Besides, a good guy like you can be a great bartender. Bartending, gambling, maybe in some human flesh. I'm sure our club would be quite amazing. Husk would look at me and look. A few months since me and Husk opened a little retreat for people to go and have fun. You know, just party with friends, nothing too special. It was quite entertaining. Me and Husk had a good time. And honestly, even though his body was affecting my emotions, deep down, I was still myself. Even if it was hidden under Alastair's fearsomeness, under his cut-in personality, and under his charm and southern accent and violent tendencies. I was still me, and I was a fanboy at heart. I enjoyed speaking to Husk. I enjoyed having this place. And honestly, it made me start thinking, what if I could have fun with other characters? As everything was going great, I had an idea to have even more fun. I would meet more characters early on and interact with them. It would be a great time. Honestly, I was thinking of, but before I could even finish that thought, something would happen. The TV would turn on. As they were going to announce Extermination Day for the first time, Adam showed up. Looky here, losers. It's time for some extermination. I hope you're all ready, because I know I am. Adam laughed as he started to play a guitar solo and say some things that were obscene. As I would simply sigh, as everyone else looked up scared, I had an idea and said, "Don't worry, I will protect all of you." Husk said, "Really?" "Yeah. How hard can it be? Besides, I have a perfect idea." Husk would say, "What is that?" "We'll hide underground. You see, the angels may come down here, but they're not quite smart. They'll focus on all the civilians they see below them, but they won't be able to look underground because, well, they'll be too dumb." Husk says, You think so?" "Oh, I know so. Adam is nothing but a infuriating little kid that never grew up with an inflated ego. He'll never look underground. He'll lead the attacks above ground. Of course, we can't have too many people below ground, otherwise it'll get obvious where we're hiding. So we need only certain people able to go under. Certain people who are important. Maybe an elite club," I started to think. As I walked over Vox, as I was thinking of starting a new elite club, a place where everyone could be safe, a nice underground bunker for every single extermination day. That way we could just all sit back and relax. I mean, true, I did know we could fight back with angelic weapons. However, I planned to keep everyone hidden, at least for now. You see, I needed this to go perfectly. Because, well, if all these characters are alive and get sick of hiding under a bunker, maybe they'll help Charlie. Maybe they'll join the hotel. Maybe interesting things will happen. I don't know, but honestly, I was very excited. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was such a fanboy. I kept geeking out, in other terms. As I walked in there, I looked at all Vox and Val's plan. As Val looked at me and said, you look kinda cute. Tell me, do you wanna have some fun with Val?" I looked at him, and honestly, part of my personality was tempted because I was quite desperate. However, since Alastair's personality had a lot of hold over me, I looked at him and said, "Ha, no." Val said, "Worth a try. So, why are you here?" Vox would say, "Yeah, you're the muscles." I would look at him and say, "Are you calling me dumb?" As suddenly, my eyes would turn red as my bones would begin to crack as I grew antlers. And Vox would say, "No, I'm not." He would nervously laugh. "Good. I had a plan, like our own private club. We'll build a bunker underground to protect us from these big bad exterminators. We don't know how strong they are. We can observe and wait and watch for a weakness so we can strike back, as we're safe in the vault. That being said, we can't let too many people in, otherwise they might hear word of it. Only the most elite shall be in. Us three, and maybe some of our pals. Some other overlords, if we're good enough friends with them." Vox and Val would look at each other as they both smiled and said, "You know what? That's a great idea," as they began instruction on it. However, a vault would take a long time to construct, And the exorcists were coming next year. We didn't know if we had enough time. Even with magic, we wanted it to be foolproof. We wanted it to be underground, have a secret entrance, be big enough to fit 100 overlords, and so many other stuff, to make sure that it's the most top of the line ever. But until then, we needed to figure out a plan. You see, even though we were new and our business was expanding, we couldn't compete with other overlords in certain territories. Certain territories were too closed off, too monopolized, but then I had a plan. You see, once Extermination Day comes, many clubs that have been here for decades, some even for centuries, will be wiped out. And once it is, we can expand. You see, I'm going to offer people a 10% deal. We take 10% of their earnings and they keep the rest. Usually it's way cheaper. Overlords are known for making soul contracts, as these soul contracts will be able to control others that force them into their will. But me, more people will be way more willing to work for me just for a 10% fee. Now, I'm not a good guy. No, I still have my radio show, and honestly, I don't really care about the money. But what I do care about are these vaults. You see, I had a plan. I can make a paradise for myself, a perfect radio, a nice place to be, a little place to escape time. I'll make it like a time capsule from the 1930s. Everything will be perfect in there. And I want to make it great. And the best way I could do that is, well, get in a lot of money. And this way will be great. Even no matter how good my deal is, no one will make an offer if they're stuck under someone's contract. But these exorcists will destroy so many sinners. New ones will come by to take their place. And they all will be coming to make a deal with me, the overlord with no soul contract. It was a foolproof plan. So as the months passed, eventually it came a year, as me, Val, and Vox were in our vault on Extermination Day. It was a little tiny thing. We weren't finished with it yet. It was going to be massive, the size of an entire city. One day, overlords and all kinds of important sinners will be there. But now is not the time for that. Now is the time to wait things out for my plan to come into fruition. As Extermination Day started, we had cameras as we all began to watch the angels to see how brutal they were. And brutal they are. They destroyed sinners, not caring who they were. Women, children, it didn't matter. They were all destroyed. The city was laid to ruin as we watched. We've never seen this much carnage before. We've seen turf wars. We've seen overlords fight. We've never seen anything like this. We all watched in shock. We knew it was going to be bad, but not this. This is just destruction. Pure destruction. As we watched destruction for 24 hours straight until they all went back up. It seems like a lot of places were destroyed. It was now time to start my plan. As my plan started, it would actually go off without a hitch, believe it or not. Factories were built, clubs were built, fun places, all kinds of things were built up. And true, there were still people under the overlord's control. A lot of them were destroyed, and I was able to spread everywhere. Now, most of these places were just small shops, nothing of pure, notice. However, this was genius because it went under the radar, and it will for a long time. True, eventually they'll find out about my scheme, but for now, my money was flowing everywhere, and my influence spread across the city, more than Val and Vox. Val and Vox didn't think of it. However, they would find out since I shared a little bit of with them, because, well, I was a kind chap, and they were impressed with all this money I was making. However, they wanted to put their name on everything, and they were kind of bummed out that they couldn't do that because it was kind of a secret takeover. But Vox didn't mind too much, and he would have to shut up Val because Val, is very narcissistical. However, the money kept flowing, and our business was more and more successful. And this was another part of my plan. The plan to control the entire city, to truly pull all of the strings. Why? Because, well, It's entertaining, let's be honest. Money, power, that can all be fun.
I felt kind of lonely. Sure, I had Husk as a friend, but Husk only really was around me because he was scared of me, because it was business. And true, since I was in Alastair's body, I didn't have any romantic feelings, but I don't know. I just felt like I needed someone to be there with me, as a friend. It was quite lonely. My personality was always lonely. I always wanted people. With Alastair's body, it slowed it down, but it just came back up again. Vox and Al, they just used me. They didn't care about me. I wanted someone who actually cared, who was an actual friend. Maybe someone who even looked up to me, but it's not like I could ever find someone like that. As I was walking back to the studio, I would hear footsteps. They sounded small. As I looked around, I didn't see anyone, as then I would feel a tap on my foot. As I looked down, it was Nifty. She would say, "Hi, are you a bad boy? I like bad boys." As I would smile and pick her up, "Yes, I am. Let's go on an adventure." Nifty would say, "Yay!" As I took Nifty out for an adventure, me and her were gonna have fun. Me and Nifty then paraded the town. We checked everything out, as we had a great time together. Nifty and I would go to different restaurants, go around, and I would share stories of me torturing people and things like that. I would even go along and do my show with her. Things were honestly great. Me and her got along lovely. We got along really well. Me and Nifty were becoming like best friends. And honestly, I loved every second of it. True, Nifty may have been crazy. True, she might even be a psychopath, but she was a friend, and I cared about her. As the day ended, she said, "All right, I'll go." I said, "Wait, you want to stay with me?" Platonically, of course. Just clean up around my house, we'll talk, we'll have fun. She says, "Did a bad boy want me to stay with him? I love it." As Nifty would stay with me. As she stayed with me, though, I was sitting on the couch as suddenly Val would open the door. Would look at me, "Where were you? We were discussing business." I would say I was busy with a friend, as I would smile. Val would look and see Nifty and say, "Oh, so you're into tiny women. We have robots for that kind of stuff. We can..." I would say, no, that's not why. Val would say, "Then what is this about?" "She's just a friend. I like how crazy and unique she is." Nifty would say, "Are you a bad boy too? Ooh, can I have your hair?" As she would go up and begin to try to, get some of Val's hair. As Val would get mad, I would say, "So, what do you need me for?" "Listen, they're getting curious about you taking all this territory. We are getting quite powerful, and we even got someone new. You see, there's this new thing called social media. I know you wouldn't know because..." And then I would look at Val. "Wait, how long have we been working together?" "Years. I thought it was months. Time just flew by." I couldn't explain it. I was shocked. As suddenly Velvette would walk in, and I realized maybe the hotel would open up soon. I just had to be there. As they would start to talk, I would start to try to run off, but then Velvette would jump in front of me. "Where do you think you're going, old timer? You don't have no style. You have nothing to contribute. All you did was make a great play a long time ago, and now, oh, nothing to contribute, huh? I'll contribute something big. I'll show you. This play will be so big, it will give us so much power you won't believe." As Val would say, "Really interesting. So what is this big play?" As I was talking out of my butt, I had no idea what it was. I started to look around as I was getting nervous, but then I had an idea. I looked at them and said, "I'll become friends with Charlie, Lucifer's daughter. Then everyone will respect me. And guess what? No one will mess with us." Velvette and Val looked at each other, as then they looked at me, and then they started to laugh. "You are such an idiot. You really think you could become friends with Charlie? Besides, if you get close to her, Lucifer will destroy you." "Charlie,
was an adult at this time, but she hasn't really fully moved out yet. I had a plan, though. I would say, you'll see, as I simply walked out. As I was walking the streets, I became nervous about my plan. Could it work? Will it work? But I had to try it. I took a deep breath and sighed. Here it is. It's all or nothing. So, my plan went into action. As Charlie was walking down the park like she normally does, she would hear crying. As she went, she saw me under a tree. She walked up to me and said, "What's wrong?" I would get up and say, "I am the mighty radio demon. Nothing." I would sigh and say, "What's the point?" Charlie would say, "You are the radio demon. You're not anything like I thought you would be. The truth is, that is all a show." I would then take a deep sigh. "I shouldn't tell you this, but those are eyes of kindness. I've never seen anything like that before. Listen. The whole show, it was a fraud. Those were paid actors. I've never hurt a soul. It was all to make people scared of me." Charlie was shocked, but she believed me as she hugged me. All of that to keep you safe, all of that to make others fear so you would never have to worry. You poor soul. Why are you really down here then? I looked and said, "I did the wrong thing." You see, I would then make up a totally fake backstory. My brother had mental problems. And well, he didn't understand right and wrong. He would steal something. It was just candy. He just wanted it. And the store clerk, he tried to arrest him, and I just snapped. And things got violent. Next thing I knew, I was down here. I know what I did was wrong, but I would do anything to protect my brother. I would look down as I began to shed tears. But those tears weren't from this action. Those tears weren't from the lies. Those were tears from the life I used to have. True, I hated my old life, but I still had family there that I missed. Charlie then hugged me as I hugged back, as she said, "Come on, let's get going." I would smile as me and Charlie would spend the day together. As me and Charlie were spending time together, we cut to Velvette. Velvette was looking on social media like she normally did. After all, her entire division was about social media and spreading our word across all of the Pride Ring. So, she had her job cut out for her. But as she was searching, she would see the news, and she would see that Charlie had a new friend, and rumors were coming out that I was her boyfriend, but of course I wasn't. Of course they didn't know that. Velvette said, "Oh my God, he did it." Val would look and say, "Well, that's surprising. Looks like we underestimated him." Vox would walk in, "Of course you did. I recruited him for a reason." Val would say, "That was so long ago." "I know, but he was the first person I asked to join. He might be dated, but when he says he's gonna do something, he does it. And we need him, and he needs us. He has no intention and doesn't know how to run a business like we do. He just lets people do what they want and takes a profit. But he knows how to brand, and he knows how to get strong allies." They would all agree as they kept watching on social media. As we cut back to me and Charlie. Charlie and I were walking across the town. As we talked for hours and hours, I would look at her and say, "Hey, would you want to hang out sometime again?" "Sure." We would set up a date, not a romantic date, just a date where we meet up, get your minds off of that place. And she would leave. I would smile as I would walk back home. And I would brag to the others that we got a new friend, and we would meet up again and again and again. However, one day as I was walking away, Lucifer himself would show up. I would begin to shake, scared. What did he want with me? What was he gonna do? He walked up to me and said, "So, you're Charlie's best friend, huh?" "Oh, you're Charlie's new best friend," he would say as he walked right up to my face. I didn't know what to do as I simply stared at him nervous. Lucifer would say, "Well, since you're my daughter's best friend, and she told me you're a great actor, and you haven't made a move on her, you must be gay." I was worried at first, I'm not gonna lie, but it's okay for having a gay best friend. She doesn't really make a lot of friends, so I'm actually really excited for her. I would look dumbfounded. I mean, I wasn't gay, but if I told him that, I don't know what he would do, so I simply looked at him and said, yeah? Then Lucifer would walk with me. You see,
I hear you gays are great with relationships, and I'm not gonna ask you out, but Lilith and I aren't doing so well, and she left a couple months ago. Should I be worried? I I looked it out. I looked at Lucifer, and I was sad as I hugged him. It'll be okay. Lucifer looked at me as he cried, and I just hugged him. It felt good to comfort him. Of course, that feeling was automatically suppressed by my Alastair emotions. It seemed like me, my own personality, was fighting my Alastair personality. As Lucifer was my favorite character, I just wanted to help him, but my Alastair personality hated him. As they were conflicted, I grabbed my head as it started to hurt.
I'll be fine. I'm going. Lucifer said, hey, even though you can't hit on me, that doesn't mean we can't have a good time together. I appreciate you spending time with my daughter. I look at him and say, yeah.
Past now, and I was, well, mostly happy. Things were going on with me in my life, but overall, I was being quite happy. Alastair, the mighty radio demon, was now friends with Lucifer and Charlie. Everything was going quite well. However, as I was in my bunker on extermination day one day, sitting down, I started to think the hotel's gonna open up soon. Maybe I should prepare a defense force, someone to actually fight against Adam. Yes, that could be quite valuable for me. As I thought this, however, something strange would happen. Vox and Val would both walk up to me. As Vox would say, we have to talk. I'd look at him and say, yeah? We don't think you represent this brand anymore. Val would say, we're kicking you out. What? You can't do this.
Get up and laugh. Okay, this little coup or mutiny or whatever this is cute. But you could never really do this to me. Besides, I'm more powerful than you think. Vox and Val simply laughed. As my tentacles came out, I grabbed them by the neck, as it was time to show them who was boss, but suddenly something happened, as I fell down to the floor. What happened? We poisoned your radio. We put poison on it to make you weak. Don't worry, it'll only last a few minutes. Hopefully you'll regain your strength by the time they find you. Who? The angels. As they picked me up, they quickly began to run, as they were going to open the vault and throw me out and close it really quick. The vault was in an inconspicuous place, and they could see on the outside with cameras, so they knew they could get away with this. They both just threw me out like I was garbage. I couldn't believe it. I had so much power. I helped them so much. I said, why? Why? As they both said this. They're coming after you. They're all jealous you took their territory. At first, we could stop them, but we can't defeat every other overlord. Sorry, your actions worked too well. You became too much of a player. Now with you gone, we can split it with them. We'll take some of the territory we had. Sure, we'd be giving up quite a lot, but it's worth it not to be attacked by everyone. I looked and said, we had Charlie. They wouldn't mess with us. They both laughed. Charlie, she might be the princess, but she's just a kind woman. She's too nice to fight anyone. You truly are an idiot. As they left me, I would start to get up and walk, starting to regain my abilities. Suddenly, I heard them behind me, angels flying from below. Turned around as I can barely walk, my legs wobbly. I was regaining my strength, but I didn't have enough. The angel walked towards me. It was clumsy and arrogant. It thought it could easily take me out, leaving itself wide open, but as it came, I used my angelic sword. I pulled it out of my clothes, and I used it to slay the angel. I had no choice. Now that I did that, though, I figured what would happen next. Adam would get super defensive and want to make an extermination come faster, now that we took one of them out. But I had to do it. I had to save my life. More would come. As I started to regain my powers, I would take more and more of them out. I was able to defend myself, but I couldn't do much. Eventually, however, though, someone would come towards me. It was Adam himself. Enough! Let me take him on. You're the first sinner to ever destroy an angel. Tell me, how did you figure out our weakness? Then began to shake. This was bad. This was really, really bad. What can I do now? That Adam was against me. That Adam was coming towards me. What could I do? Adam, he may have been overconfident and not that smart and arrogant, but overall, he was still very powerful, and he showed commander abilities. But I could manipulate him. After all, he will let his guard down. I looked at him and said, "Oh, it's you, the Great One, the strongest of them all." I began to shake as I got on my knees. Adam laughed and said, "Oh, that's such a great compliment." You know, for that, I'll make this painless. I mean, I still have to get rid of you because it's my job, but you know, remember that. As he let his guard down, suddenly I would charge as I began to swing my sword with all of my might, but then he blasted me away. You thought I couldn't see through that? You really thought I was an idiot. I'll admit, I am quite fool of myself, and who can blame me? I'm great. But even I can see through a dumb, stupid ruse like that. Prepared to end it, I said, "No, I'm gonna fight to the very end." As my tentacles came up, I charged at Adam, as I was gonna fight him with everything I had.
Poison has fully wore off at this point, and I could feel my strength coursing through my veins. As I used it, I used all my power, all my magic, and every single technique I could think of, every single trick. I was like a lion backed into a corner as I growled. Adam then laughed. "What are you growling? What are you, some sort of edgelord?" I said, "Shut up." As then, I used every single bit I got into one massive attack, as I used all my tentacles and all my power to swing myself right towards him with my sword, going at lightning speed. But then, he simply knocked me back like I was nothing. I fell to the floor as I got up, barely able to walk. As I started to crawl, Adam said, "I guess it's over." Then he heard the noise, and extermination day was up. Adam said, "It doesn't matter. What will one..." He held up his guitar, and I knew it was over. All of this struggle, all of this pain for nothing. I thought since I knew the characters I could play them all, but they played me. They simply used me to be successful, then threw me out like trash. This is how it ends. But right before he threw down his guitar, someone stopped him. It was Lucifer, as he put his hand on Adam's shoulder. "You should probably go back. After all, extermination is over, so you're not allowed to do anything." Adam would say, But, ugh. Why do you care? I've done it hours late before and you never got on me." Lucifer said he's a friend, as Adam said, "Fine, but if I see him again next year, I'm taking him down." As he flew away, Adam wanted to take me out right here, right now, especially since I took out the exorcist. But exorcists were already returning back to heaven, so taking Lucifer on right now alone was not a good idea, so he flew away. Even Adam can admit that. As Lucifer looked down at me, he said, "After seeing this, I know the truth. You didn't lie about taking down those people, but I always knew that. But I kept you around. I could sense there was good in you. I didn't know if there was a split personality or what, but now I figured it out. You're not from this world, are you?" I looked at him shocked. "How could you tell that?" Adam said, "How could you know that?" "Well, it happens a lot here, but normally all their memories are wiped. It takes a lot of power for their memories not to be wiped, and it takes even more power for you to take over their personality. And their personality was controlling you, but now look at you. It seems like Alastair completely left you. I don't know why." Then it hit me. This was the 7 years when he left. Even though I'm here, his personality left. I wonder if that was a coincidence or not. I didn't really know, but I did know one thing, however. And that one thing was, I had to do this. I looked at him and said, "I'm sorry for lying. Maybe I should just go." But then Lucifer hugged me. "You're my own." Lucifer would tell me that I'm his daughter's only friend, and he wanted her to have friends, and maybe we could be friends too. I smiled. Lucifer was a lonely guy. I knew he was lonely. Even though he was above everyone, he barely talked to anyone. He was isolated ever since Lilith left, so me coming into his life would really help him out, so I nodded. As in, I would go back for Nifty. Nifty would say, "What happened? They said you died." "No one can kill me. I'll get my revenge. But for now, I'd like you to say hi to my friend." As Lucifer walked in, Nifty ran as she hugged Lucifer. "The ultimate bad boy." Lucifer said, "Well, that's creepy. Anyway, let's go." As we walked to his house. As we went to Lucifer's home, things were nice. Me and Nifty stayed there. Lucifer was quite lonely ever since Charlie moved out, so things were working out quite well. All three of us were gonna have a good time. Sure,
We may have had bad times, we may have had our ups and downs, but through it all, we had something. Family. Because now we were like a family, and that meant the world to all of us. However, as this was going on, we cut back to Vox and Val. Vox and Val were shocked. Charlie was one thing, but Lucifer, the king himself, protecting me, they made a mistake. Throwing me away was the biggest mistake they ever made. As suddenly, Violet walked in. As she said, what happened? Oh, we kicked out, Alastair. And now, well, he's friends with Lucifer. You did what? I told you not to do this. Now he'll come back with a vengeance. Oh, you guys are such idiots. She yelled as soon as she ran off. As then, Val began to laugh. What are you laughing at? We got the king. Relax. He ran away, remember? Besides, our vote is so powerful. It will stop any exorcist from attacking us, and now that he's on the run, he'll give up his old life. He's a softie now, are you sure? Val said, yeah, I'm sure. Was I a softie now? Or was vengeance? As I was with Lucifer and Charlie, I had to get my revenge. Even though I kind of wanted to leave it behind. Even though I kind of just wanted to let things be. I couldn't do that. I had to make a stand against everyone. As Charlie was sitting around with Vaggie, I had an idea as I walked to her. You know, we should do something. Do what? Charlie said. Open a hotel to redeem sinners. Charlie became enthralled by the idea and decided to open up shop with me. As I would support her, Nifty would be there from the beginning, and so would Husk. Husk would be confused. So, this is where you've been, huh? You were pushed out of nowhere, and now you come back. Yes, the V's betrayed me, but don't worry. I have a plan to get rid of them, and it all starts with this. Once I give this place hope, my image will be turned around, so they won't be scared of me, so I can make deals with other people. Husk would laugh. This image can make you look stupid, too. After all, who would want to be redeemed? I would laugh and say, well, you'd be surprised. As I walked off, as time came, no one came in. Day by day, it seemed like a lost cause. But one day, someone would walk in. His name was Angel. Things were going according to plan. I knew that Angel was very important. You see, since Angel worked with Val, I can use Angel to get to Val. After all, Val was the one who betrayed me. So did Vox. And so did Violet. At least, so I assumed. Little did I know, Violet had nothing to do with it, and in fact, had her own plan that could affect all of us. As Angel walked in, he said, so, this is the place where we redeem people, huh? Do you offer free rooms? I would say, yes, darling, we offer free rooms, and may I say, you look quite stunning. Angel would say, oh, so you want to get a piece of me? I said, ha, no. To be honest, I wouldn't mind getting a piece of him, but it would just distract me, so I rejected the offer as I walked off smiling. Since Alastair's personality no longer affected me, I didn't know why, but I assumed it's because he left in this timeline, so his influence is not supposed to be here. However, we opened the hotel a few years earlier, but things will still play out the same. Soon, his personality will come back. I need to make plays and ideas that I can do that I couldn't do with his personality, as I didn't really know what to do now. With the hotel here, I can rebuild my image, but that'll only take me so far. If people trusted me, I can form an uprising. You see, the overlords were strong, but if I can get all the common sinners under me, I can form a coup d'etat, taking them all out and forming a new government. A government which organized with all the sinners. Because Lucifer, he just lets you do whatever you want as long as you don't cause too much trouble. So establishing a new democracy with all the sinners, or maybe a dictatorship, depending on how things go, would be nice. As I was walking down the sidewalk, someone would walk towards me. It was Velvette. I began to pull out my tentacles as I got ready to fight, but she simply laughed. Oh, Al, you really think I'm here to fight you? It wasn't my plan to throw you out. After you made friends with Charlie and Lucifer himself, we were going to rule this entire place. But the idiots backstabbed you because they were jealous of your power and scared you would betray them. So they decided to kick you out first, assuming you would be destroyed. However,
It didn't work, and you survived, just as I planned. Well, I didn't plan for them to do this, but I have planned to side with you from the start, to get rid of those idiots. I would say, how can I trust you? If I didn't want to work with you, I wouldn't come here. Besides, all the other overlords hate you. You're only alive because of Lucifer's protection. I'm great with sabotage. I could easily destroy that relationship and have you be gone like that. She snapped her fingers, but don't worry. I need you, and you need me, Velvette said as she walked up to me. So, what do you say? I thought about it, and honestly, it seemed like a great idea. She was way smarter than most overlords. She thought with her brains, and she was great with advertising, so she can help the hotel. Not directly, I didn't want to ruin her image, but online and stuff. I said deal as we shook hands.
As me and Velvette made the deal, we were gonna fight side by side. She wouldn't support me directly, but indirectly, she would sabotage the V's and make them weaker so I could strike. But I needed an army, and I knew just where to get it. I was preparing for war. I would use the hotel to help my image. My plan was for Adam to come down, and when we beat him like in canon, we'll be seen as heroes, and I'll be able to use that momentum to gather up more forces. And even after that, I can make a strike force. It'll be perfect. I have everything I need. But something was bugging me. I wanted vengeance now. I needed to fight now. As I was walking down to my favorite place, Cannibal Town. It's been a while since I've been there. As I went there, I saw someone who was very happy to see me.
It was Rosie as I walked up to her. Hello, old friend. It's been a while, about a year now. Sorry, last year, it was quite hectic. You see, she ran and hugged me. Ow, I missed you. I thought you were destroyed. I almost was. But now I have a plan to make things better for everyone. And to achieve a better dream. Imagine it, more territory, more resources, more food for everyone. She says, ow, you know I love you, but I'm happy with just my little town. Rosie would be ecstatic to see me, but she didn't want to do this. She didn't want to fight. She didn't want to do some crazy scheme, but I looked at her. Rosie, you don't like the angels, do you? They come down here, threaten to destroy everything. There's no way that you can enjoy that. Yeah, well, I have a plan to stop them forever, but I need your help, and I need their army eventually, but not now. When the time comes, we will destroy the angels and become a symbol of hope. Sure, we might be sinners, sure, we might be evil, and we will allow crime and stuff like that, but it will be controlled under a republic, where we all get our say, and we all spread out our ideals. Rosie would look at me and sigh, and then she said, oh, ow, I can't say no to you. All right, let's do it. I smirked as I walked out and began to sing a song about how tasty an angel would taste. All the cannibals sided with me. As soon when the time came, we would all side together. However, that would be quite a while from now. Now that I got their alliance early, it was time to look forward. It was time to get Angel on my side. You see, Angel was a wild card. He was sick of Val, but he was so depressed, so down on himself, that he wouldn't rebel easily. I needed to coach him into it. Use him to rebel against Val. And once he did, I can get what I wanted. I can achieve my goal of getting revenge. However, this was easier said than done, so I had to come up with a plan. As Angel was walking up, he said, hello, Smiles, as he came and started to flirt with me. I said, you know, Angel, I was looking for a deal that can protect you. You know, I used to be a part of the V's. Angel looked and said, yeah, we all know. They thought they got rid of you, but you survived. And now you're working on this hotel. I figured you want to get revenge, but you can't use me. Val's too strong, my darling. What if I told you that we already have more against them than you thought?
Would tell him I had a person on the inside that could help get me through, but I needed Angel. I needed you to help me. When everything goes crazy, there will be angels here to exterminate us all. You could sneak in and take out Val. No one was suspected. Angel would say, but don't worry. My person on the inside is very powerful. They will protect you. What do you say? Angel would look at me and say, I'll think about it, as he walked off. I didn't have confirmed yet, but I sighed. Everything was gonna have to go fine. But as I was walking down, Nifty would hug me and say, I was kind of bummed out that you were doing this boring project. I thought I was losing my bad boy. But now that I know the truth, now that I've heard your schemes, I want in. I want in. I then laughed and said, Nifty, I have a very important role for you.
You'll be more than our maid. You'll be our lovable mascot. Everyone will love the name of Nifty. Nifty, the lovable mascot. That's crazy, insane, and exotic. Everyone will hear your name and smile. Nifty and I hugged
and I've been ready, getting my plans together to destroy the V's once and for all. Everything was set. However, Angel was still a wild card. I couldn't count on him yet. However, one day, as I was sitting in my chair doing my radio show, Angel would walk in. I would turn off my broadcast. Oh, Angel, what is it? He would walk to me and say, I'm ready. I'm ready to destroy Valentino. As I would then say, excellent, excellent, excellent. Here, they have something that sabotages my power. You see, I can control radio and other frequencies that could sabotage their building. And, well, I could sneak in, but they have some sort of thing stopping me. Just use this. Put this little thing on Val's back. As then I gave him a little sticker. Angel would say, are you sure? Yeah. That'll make it so I can relay my signal straight to him and cause him pain, and then I could strike. Angel would nod. As then I sat down. As I was ready to do it. I was ready to go through with my plan, but before I did it, I needed some nice rest. After all, I can't fight them tired. But as I got up and started to walk to my bedroom, Nifty ran to me. Can I get involved? Please, please, please. I want to cause some madness. Sure. Take this. I gave her a small angelic knife. Use it on anyone you see. Alright, enjoy. As then I walked off and went to bed. I then woke up the next morning, well rested and ready to strike, ready to pounce, and ready to prove my superiority, and to prove once and for all that no one messes with the radio demon. As then we cut to Val and Vox. As Val and Vox were sitting on the couch, they were both laughing and watching a movie. As Velvette walked in and said, hey Vox, I need you for something. Vox was inside. We're busy, as he was holding Val's hand. Oh, yeah? You two are busy, she used quotation marks and smirked. Not like, fine, as Vox walked off with her. As Val was watching his TV, he then noticed something. Velvette usually always asks for both of them, not one of them, unless Val was throwing a hissy fit, but he didn't think too much about it. As then, we cut to me. I would then go over and talk to Angel, as it was in the morning. Alright, Angel, are you ready to do this? Angel would nod and say, yes, I'm ready. As then Angel went off to work. As he walked into work, I waited and waited to get my chance. As we cut to Angel, Angel would walk straight to Val. Val would smile. Aw, you come straight to me. As then Angel sat on his lap. They both looked at each other happily. As Angel leaned in for a kiss, he put a little sticker on his back. That suddenly Val started to fall down and foam out the mouth as I appeared. Hello there, Val. I can easily take you one-on-one. I didn't want to have to fight you and Vox at the same time, though. However, that problem's been taken care of. Val would get up and say, what are you talking about? That problem's been taken care of. Look, I understand you're angry, but you were an idiot. You got too much power without properly seizing it. We should have got rid of all the overlords, not just steal all their territory. I admit, I was dumb. You got Lucifer on your side. You were right. I was wrong. But everyone hated you. They were going to take you out secretly anyway. Oh, were they now? I highly doubt that. But let's go on. Val would then say, shut up. I'm more powerful than you. I'm better than you. And I'm going to prove it. And me and Vox will wipe the floor with you. But then, Vox's TV thing that he has for a head was thrown in front of Val, as Val was shocked. Vox was taken care of. I also made sure it was an angelic weapon, so no more Vox. As I laughed, Val would say, "Ah! As he started to cry, Vox...
I was shocked. It seemed Val did care about someone. Sure, he was toxic. True, he was a terrible person, but he actually cared about Vox. I simply stood there and looked at him, as I realized something. Even the worst among us have humanity left in him. Was it really my right to get rid of him? After seeing all this, does violence really solve anything? Will me getting rid of him undo the damage that he's done? Is it even worth it? All these thoughts went through my head as Alastair's personality faded away, as all I saw was myself. True, I was not nearly as bad as Val, but I've done terrible things as Alastair. Who am I to judge him? Who am I to put the law against him? Who am I to get rid of him? After all, I did bad things too. Who am I to say what he did was worse? As I stared at him for minutes on end, he simply pulled out his weapons. It's over. I don't care if I don't make it, but I'll make you suffer for what you did to Vox. As then I looked at him. It's too late, but for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
As I used my tentacles and grabbed and picked up Val, as I started to hold him down with my tentacles, he started to release more and more power as he yelled at me, trying to attack me with everything he got. As my tentacles even started to shake, I was using all my power just to hold him. It seemed like Val, for the first time in his life, had something to fight for, but it was too late. He was already too far gone. He already did too much, and it's too late to stop now. I looked at him with regret in my eyes, as I said, maybe one day, people can know who you really are. People could know that you cared about someone. I'll tell them. You won't tell them anything, cause you won't exist, Val would say, as he yelled at me, and yelled obscenities at me, but I just sighed. As then, I picked up my angelic spear and threw it at him. The deed was done. As I walked out, Nifty would run, covered in, let's say, red Kool-Aid, so, we don't get demonetized, as she laughed. This is fun! As she ran out the door, I sighed, as we all walked back to the hotel. Charlie would say what happened. As Angel would say it, Charlie would look at me mad. He was a bad person, but you didn't tell me about any of this. Besides, how can we redeem people when you're doing stuff like... I looked and said, you're right. I'm sorry. As then I just cried. Charlie was shocked. Everyone was shocked. As Charlie said, what's wrong? Charlie would say, what's wrong? I would look at her and say, well, it's just... I think maybe I'm a bad person. Before I didn't care about it. Before something in me stopped me from caring. But now... the writing's on the wall, and I actually care to read this time. I sighed. He had humanity. The worst person I ever met still had a human side to him, and yet I didn't. What does that make me compared to him? What does that make me compared to what he did? Compared to what I did? I felt no remorse. I was a monster. Charlie would look at me and say, so you really did do all that stuff. Well, that doesn't matter. You feel guilty. The fact that you're telling me this, the fact that you're coming clean, it means you felt something. That's what makes you a good person, to feel bad for the bad you've done. Every person does bad things, but to feel bad about it, that's what makes you good. I looked at her and said, I don't know. Well, I do, as she hugged me, and I hugged back. As I cried into her arms, as I didn't know who I was anymore, but then I felt a pain in my head as I realized something. This date is the date where Alastair returned. As I felt his personality coming back, I tried to fight it. I tried to be myself. I tried to be who I am, but I just couldn't. Or could I? I kept going more and more. It was a battle inside my head. As I fell to the floor, Charlie would say, are you okay? No, I just can't. As I run to my room and lock the door. As I felt it more and more,
I didn't know what to do. I wanted to stay myself. I wanted to stay a good person. I fought and fought and fought and fought with everything I had, but then I heard laughter. It was the radio demon laughing, but I wasn't laughing. As I turned around, I saw him. You really think you can escape me? I let you have fun and do your own little thing, and you did help me quite a bit, but I'm back. No, you're not. I won't let you. I won't let you do this. As I began to scream, I grabbed my head as the pain got more and more intense and
was on end, laying down in pure pain, my head in agony. Eventually I did it. I won. Alastair was gone. Or at least I thought. However, I still heard his voice inside me. It seems like you were too strong for me to take you over. Oh well, we're together now. A personality. Both of us. Together. I would then sigh and say, I guess we are. What do you want now? He would start to laugh. What do I want? I want to have some entertainment and my life to be better. You didn't trap me in some sort of deal. I hate to admit it, but I knew a nerd like you would make better decisions than me. Now all we have to do is defeat Adam. And you have a plan for that, yes? Let me enact it. No, I will. But you'll have to. I know what I have to do. I said as I walked out. As I was getting prepared for the next extermination day, I was going to be prepared months before it happened. I knew where Adam was going to land. I knew where his forces would land, and I would make sure that he would not get me. As I went to Charlie, Charlie was about to go over to the meeting. As I looked right at her, I said, tell me how it goes. All right, she left. And I actually filmed the commercial with no problem this time. As she met with Adam, the whole meeting went terrible, like in canon. And she said extermination day was coming a bit sooner. As then I said, don't worry, I have a plan. As I walked over to Velvette. How do you feel about stopping extermination day permanently? Making it so we don't lose any of our assets ever again. Velvette would say, I'm down. Good, tell the other overlords. I have a plan. As the other overlords were summoned, I would walk into the meeting. Hello there. I just wanted to tell you all about a new project of mine. A project that doesn't involve getting rid of me like you guys wanted to. As they all looked embarrassed, looking at each other, as Jestiel said, that was a long time ago, Alastair. Are you here for revenge? I do not like that, and even though I'm usually on your side, I will not fight for you if that is what you are implying. No. Well, yes, but not against them. Against the angels. You see, I have a way to stop the exorcist army. Carmine looked at me. As she said, you really want to start a war? A war has already happened, and besides, you had the information, and you didn't do anything about it. You knew about angelic weapons the entire time. You could have helped us fight back, but you didn't. You sit there and let the people of this place be destroyed. You are a coward. Suddenly, the Alastor part of me got really upset that I said that. It was ungentlemanly, even though he was a bad guy. So it started to take over. As I said, what are you doing? You're going too far. You literally, eat people. How am I going too far? As we started to argue in my head, I grabbed it. As Carmine said, what's wrong? Do you have enough of your nonsense? No, it's just... Listen. If we can all team up, we can stop it once and for all. Heaven would realize that they can't come down here and do it anymore. That we'll be free. And that's... Extermination Day will never happen again. Of course, you could just sit back and wait to, I don't know, stop existing. Up to you. They all started to look at each other. As Jestiel resently joined, and a few others joined. Well, some stayed and some joined. Carmine agreed to supply us with the equipment. However, she refused to have any of her people fight. Now it was time to go to Cannibal Town to get my army. As I visited Rosie, Rosie would say, I heard everything. We've already getting prepared. You have the people of the town. You've had them for a while now, so why are you here? Because I'm here for something special, Rosie. Oh, really? Well, what's that, doll? I would start to smile and say, well, I've been here for a while. And, well, I haven't really been honest with you.
Since you were my first friend down here, I think it's time I tell you the truth. Rosie would say, the truth about what? I would sit down with her and tell her the whole story. She was shocked. It seemed like some sort of sick joke, but she knew I wasn't joking. So, you and Alastair are the same person now. Well, body, yes, but he's talking to me in my head. I think I might win, though, and if I do, you're not going to hate me for it, are you? Rosie would sigh and say, whoever wins is my friend, and I'll support them no matter what. I hope you're still in the mood for my food, though, as she pulled out some fingers. I was a bit disgusted by that, but I pretended not to be. Oh, of course I am. It looks, well, delicious. She laughed, as then I started to walk out. The days were counted by, and the trap was getting more and more complex. It was time to take down Adam, as then we cut to Adam.
Alright, Loot, let's do this. Let's go and wipe out some pathetic demons, Adam would say, as he was getting ready, but Loot would look at him. Are you sure, sir? After all, they know we're coming. Who cares if they know we're coming? No one can touch us. Even if they have a few angelic weapons, I'm sure we can handle it. Adam would fly down to the hotel, but he was shocked to see if the entire hotel was empty. So Adam, being so wise, decided to go in there, because it obviously wasn't a trap, and even if it was, Adam could easily stop it. As Adam went in there, though, a massive force field went around it, and all of his forces were stopped out. He began to laugh. I can easily destroy any pathetic magic you have. As then suddenly, an army appeared and charged at Adam. Adam was easily taking care of them. However, he had no idea that they were simply a distraction, when suddenly, a catapult would be launched in the hotel. A catapult was upstairs, made by Sir Pinchas. He actually did something useful once. As all the angelic weapons went over and hit Adam in the back, he fell down. Adam was careless and let his guard down. As he looked around, he couldn't believe it. He lost. As Adam began to cough, I walked up to him. So, it's over, Adam. What do you think? Defeated by a random sinner you didn't even know existed. Adam would say, you know, it feels good. He would smile, as I would say, what, you're happy? Why are you happy? I started to shake Adam. Why? Adam would simply smile and say, because it's finally over. My tyranny. He laughed, as in it was over. I didn't understand why Adam's last words were of happiness. I shook Adam again and again, but it did nothing, as I just looked at him, and I realized something. It was over. Adam was gone. I thought I was going to be happy. I thought I was going to be happy to get rid of someone like him, but maybe it wasn't such a good idea. I then walked out. As I saw the rest of us, we were surrounding the angels, pushing them through. I told the overlords to never let them escape. Charlie wouldn't be happy with this decision. After all, it should be about defense, not revenge. However, revenge is what I intended for, and revenge is the only way forward. As I walk out, I look around. I see the destruction all around me as I sigh. Then, I smiled. As I see everything. Everything around me is going so perfectly, yet I can feel my sadness through what I did. Adam seemed so happy and content for who he was, even near the end. However, I can't dwell on it now. It's time we build a new future. After this, I left the hotel. I was done. Adam was gone, and I achieved everything I wanted. I thought about having dreams of grandeur and other things, but I decided that wasn't for me. I began to isolate myself from everyone as the time went on. However, I would be known as a hero. Well, I shouldn't say hero. Let's just say savior. There is a difference there. I saved everyone from Adam, and I would become like a celebrity for the entire Pride Ring. Everyone would know my name. Even demon-born royalty would know the name of Alastair, the man that saved us all from Adam. As time went on more and more, I began to enjoy myself and find myself in this new world.
and I would start to visit the hotel and even make friends with people there. Nifty was my best crazy friend. Husk was a go-to, and Angel and Charlie, well, they liked me. Everything seemed like it was going well, and it was a life well worth spending, as this was my new life, and I'm happy I had it.
However, one day a figure would walk in, a figure I didn't recognize before. As I said, "Who are you?" "I'm the one who created this place. I thought it'll be a fun afterlife for you, a little experiment to watch. I didn't think you'd actually be happy, and you'd actually like it here. You are such a nerd. Usually when I do these experiments, they end up wanting to go home, but you never wanted to go home. Well, part of you did, but you gave that up. That's so rare." I looked at him and said, "Who are you?" "I'm the one who gave you this afterlife, like I just said." I would say, "Are you God?" He would then laugh. "You still believe in God? Aw, that's cute. That's very cute." "No, we are just the kind of people that like to watch people. Do you want to stay here or go back to your old life?" I would say, "Stay here. You sure? This is the last chance you'll get." I thought about my old life, how sad it was. I may have had family, friends, but right here, I had more family, more friends than I ever had. As I said, "I'll stay," as in they walked away, and it was over. My journey may have ended in my old life, but